White House officials announced today, after a disaster at the Kabul airport yesterday, trying to evacuate Americans and others who were needed to be evacuated, who helped the U.S. military, that U.S. troops have secured the Karzai International Airport in Kabul, and flights are now able to land and depart to evacuate American citizens and Afghan nationals. The U.S., after leaving Afghanistan, brought back in another 3,500 troops, and then another 4,000 in addition are on their way. Jeez. So after we evacuated and said goodbye,
coming right
24
back
hours later, hello!
This would not be the trip that I want to take.
Hello, we're back. 7,500 troops needed to secure the Karzai airport in order for the flights to take off. Yesterday, the United States evacuated more than 700 people, including 150 American citizens. There could be anywhere from 0 to 10,000 Americans still left in Afghanistan. The Kabul airport was a scene of chaos yesterday. Now, thousands of Afghans rushed onto the tarmac yesterday. Some were so desperate to escape. Yeah, there you see the person falling from the plane. Some were so desperate to escape the Taliban capture of their country, they held on to the cargo plane as it took off and then plunged to their death. U.S. officials said at least 7 people yesterday were killed in the chaos. Now, Biden spent the past several days in Delaware at Camp David. He returned to the White House only briefly to deliver an update on the situation. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki also on vacation. Why is she on vacation when they knew they were going to be withdrawing from Afghanistan? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I wonder if that was approved.
I don't know. Maybe it was approved. They didn't want to have any press conferences. Well, I'm sorry, Vanessa?
Just timely. Very timely.
Very, very suspiciously timely.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, many are comparing the withdrawal of the United States military with their departure from Saigon, Vietnam in 1975. President Biden vowed earlier in August that Americans would not see Saigon-like images of United States aircrafts evacuating amid chaos. Unfortunately, he was a little incorrect. Now, pictures and video of Taliban fighters seizing U.S. weapons and military equipment have flooded social media in the wake of the Taliban's rapid advance. A lot of the U.S. military equipment now in the hands of the Taliban. Yesterday, President Biden said the truth is, this did unfold more quickly than we anticipated. President Obvious there.
Right. Do you think there was a way to secretly move, the people that they were supposed to move out before they just was like, hey, we're going to take everybody out? You know what I mean? Because it's like, now the Taliban has taken over and they know that we've pulled out, and you have so many people that we were supposed to bring back here. Shouldn't they have secretly been taking them out within the past years? Before
listen,
they announced it, at least?
My opinion is Biden, I think, ultimately did the right thing, because there was no way that the United States was ever going to train the Afghan military. He had a press conference yesterday, and he basically, it was like a binary equation. You know what the word binary means? It means we only had 2 options.
Right.
Our only 2 options we had were we give a surge of troops and take back over Afghanistan, or we leave. But maybe there was a third option, like Yadithin, smart guy next to me, is saying. Was there a way? I'm sure.
I mean, I'm not
a military planner, but I would assume there was a way that you could evacuate everyone that needed to be evacuated, and then take your equipment away,
right,
and then the troops go.
Exactly.
In that order.
Right.
I don't understand why the troops just left and everybody, it was mass chaos. Meanwhile, the State Department requested the Pentagon transport and temporarily house. It's like fish out of water. You should not be in the military, right? The State Department requested the Pentagon transport and temporarily house 22,000 Afghans who have special immigrant visas, their families and others who are at risk at 2 U.S. military facilities. The Pentagon previously announced that Fort Lee in Virginia would house 22,000 special immigrant visa applicants awaiting processing, and as of Sunday, nearly 2,000 had already been relocated to the Army post. Lieutenant Colonel Christian Mitchell said in a statement, under the second request, the department will provide protection, air transportation, and processing of up to 30,000 at-risk individuals from Kabul. Now, If you have a relative in Afghanistan, because I had discussions with my attorneys today about this, people were calling me up and they were asking, saying, hey, Brad, what should I do if I have a relative in Afghanistan? I need to get this relative out of Afghanistan. And I was telling people up to the last 48 hours, they got to get to a third country to apply as a refugee to come to the United States. You can't apply as a refugee in your own country. You have to get out of your country, which is why people were in the airport just trying to get out to go anywhere, right, whether it was Turkey or other neighboring countries, and then apply as a refugee in those third countries. Mm-hmm. Now, after discussion, we put all our heads together. I have two other options for people in Afghanistan if they have relatives and they want to be able to get their relatives out of Afghanistan. One is there is humanitarian parole. It always exists. You can make an application to the Immigration Service for a humanitarian parole, explain the humanitarian situation is for your particular relative, which is more of an outstanding humanitarian concern than the average person in Afghanistan, because obviously the United States can't take the entire country.
Right.
And perhaps that humanitarian parole application would be approved, and when they come to the United States at the border, they then apply for asylum. That could be an option for people if they can't get out to a third country as a refugee. And also, I just learned today, which I didn't know existed, so I learn things every day as well. Mm-hmm. If you were somebody from Afghanistan and you're already in the United States, and there's lots of people in the United States from Afghanistan who are already entered the United States on special immigrant visas, like we're talking about those 30,000 people who are still waiting to come from Afghanistan on those special immigrant visas, but there are already people who came to the United States on those special immigrant visas. All of the people from Afghanistan who are already here on the special immigrant visas were mostly working with the U.S. military, mm-hmm, whether as interpreters or guides, local guides, to maze of streets or whatever it may be. Many of those people who are here are already residents and U.S. citizens. They had contacts and connections at the Department of Defense. If they have kept those contacts and connections, there is something called military parole. And you can go back to the person that you know in the United States military and request them to sign off on something called military parole, where the Defense Department gets involved. I didn't even know this existed. I found out about this today, actually, so I learned things too, where the Defense Department gets involved and will make an application for your relative to come to the United States, to be paroled into the United States, but it's an application that the military makes to the Department of Homeland Security. That could be another option to try to get your family member out of Afghanistan, right, but you need that connection. But most people who got those special immigrant visas probably have those connections with the military because they had people, who they were working with at the time, and hopefully they kept in contact with them. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the other option would be refugee, get to a third country, apply as a refugee to come to the United States, or hopefully you're in that group of 30,000 people that have already been approved for a special immigrant visa, and you will get airlifted out by the U.S. military. In Kabul, since the Taliban took over, women have largely been staying indoors.
Yeah.
The Taliban has repeatedly said that women's rights will be protected under their rule, but it is very clear that many Afghan women are terrified by the prospect of life under the Taliban. Now, far fewer women are venturing into the streets now compared to just a few days ago. Those who do brave the outside world tend to be dressed more conservatively. Many are educated, fearless women who spent the last decade building their careers, and they're desperately looking for a way out, worried that they may be targeted by the Taliban. One woman told CNN, "I'm thinking about my future, my daughters, what will happen to them if they kill me? 2 daughters without a mother." The woman, who is not named for security reasons, has worked for a number of international non-government organizations. She said she has spent days desperately pleading with them for help, but nobody has responded. Shopkeepers said his customers, largely men, are frightened into buying for their wives, daughters, and other women in their lives because they feel that from now on, wearing a burqa may be the only way for them to stay safe on the streets. For now, the Taliban is insisting that life should go on as normal, telling government workers to come back. I read something very interesting, an article about what's going on in Afghanistan. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. But Thomas Friedman wrote a very interesting article in the New York Times, and he basically said that the American mission in Afghanistan started off as, we got to get Osama bin Laden, and we got to rid Afghanistan of the Taliban. Mm-hmm. But it changed after the Taliban was routed, and after eventually they found Osama bin Laden. The mission changed to, we are there to train the Afghan army to fight for its own government. And he said that was a misguided thing that the United States were doing. He wrote that the Afghans know how to fight. They've been fighting for the last 100 years. The British, the Soviets, and now the Americans. And really what this is all about, and this is not just in Afghanistan, but this is everywhere. People generally prefer their own people to be their rulers, as bad as they are,
really,
compared to having foreigners come to rule them, as well-intentioned as the foreigners are.
That to me is backwards and very brainwashed.
What do you think, Vanessa? Do you think people would prefer generally, because that's what many people believe happened in Afghanistan, that they would prefer, as bad as their rulers are, to be ruled by someone like themselves than be ruled by foreigners, no matter how well-intentioned they are?
I was just going to mention how we really need to just take a look at how these Middle Eastern countries are very, very traditional countries. So yeah, for as horrible as it may be, to them there's a comfortability and like a relatability culturally that it just makes more sense to them for it to be their own people. There'll be that small percentage of liberals, and it might not be enough to, if there was a vote to be made, like for it to really go more towards a liberal perspective.
For me, the only way that would actually make sense to me is like countries in Africa, like with colonialism. We're afraid to have other people come into our country to rule. But if, like you said, they're coming with good intentions, and so many governments in, these other countries are so crooked, and I just don't understand how. They would.
I kind of agree with him. I think people see the United States and Afghanistan, we see ourselves as well-intentioned, and the people in Afghanistan see us as an occupying force. Now, I don't know, ultimately, nobody knows what's going to happen in Afghanistan. Many people think it's going to go back to pre-9/11, where the Taliban rule with an iron fist. There are no rights. It is a strict Muslim country. Women have to wear burqas. They can't go to work. They can't go get educated.
Wild.
You can't send their kids to school. I don't know if that's ultimately going to happen. All right? You have to see. It's one thing to come into power in 24 hours or 48 hours, but ultimately the Taliban's got to deliver. They got to deliver jobs. They got to deliver electricity. They got to deliver food. They got to deliver security.
Yeah.
And if they don't, people are going to start becoming very unhappy with them as well, no matter how much of an iron fist that they use. It's also very interesting, something that exists now that didn't exist pre-2001. You know what that is?
The internet?
The internet. Cell phones.
I feel like they would ban it, though.
Maybe, but there's always ways to go around it. And I'll tell you something else that didn't exist 20 years ago in Afghanistan that exists now. 20 years of women in the workforce.
Yeah.
20 years of women getting an education. You can't just put that back in the bottle and say, sorry. Okay? It doesn't work that way. People got used to a lifestyle. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just telling you, it can't go. It may not be as bad as people.
It just will be ugly.
It could be ugly,
Yeah.
but it may not be as bad as people think it will be, because the Taliban, if they want to go back to pre-9/11, they're going to have problems with the people who they need to support them. I mean, another thing with Afghanistan I read, 65% of the people living in Afghanistan are 25 and under.
Wow.
Okay?
They don't even
9/11
know.
was 20 years ago. Okay?
It
So even if you say they were 5 years old, they have no recollection of what life was like
Right.
pre 9/11 in Afghanistan. And now to go back to that life when they lived a different Western-styled life for 20 years, it's going to be a problem for them too. With
Yeah.
telephones, cell phones, internet, social media,
time.
women in the workforce, girls going to school.
I don't know why. I just don't see the Taliban like compromising. It's like, hey, let's work together, and But
I'm going to tell you another thing that Thomas Friedman wrote about that I didn't even know about. The head of, this is an interesting tidbit of facts that you don't see a lot, in the news at least, and confirmed, is that the leader of the Taliban, Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, he owes his freedom to the United States of America. When this pumpkin decided he was going to leave Afghanistan, he pressured Pakistan to let this leader who was arrested in Pakistan free, to go back and lead the Taliban. What secret deals did the United States make with this guy
right.
that he was released from Pakistan, allowed to go back and rule as the leader of the Taliban? We don't know what the pumpkin did. Okay, maybe Joe Biden is aware.
Right.
We don't know. Okay, there's a lot.
There
Okay.
is.
Also, by the way, Afghanistan's, most, people who are around Afghanistan who can influence them, all allies of the United States, United Arab Emirates, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia. So, I don't know what's going to happen, but there's a possibility with knowing all of this that maybe it doesn't turn out as bad as we think.
I mean, I hope that. I pray that.
I just gave you 6 reasons why it may not. George W. Bush, the first American president to preside over the war in Afghanistan, the First Lady, Laura Bush, said in a statement, like our country, Afghanistan is also made up of resilient, vibrant people. Nearly 65% of the population is under 25 years old. The choices they will make for opportunity, education, and liberty will determine Afghanistan's future. Governor Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, he is fully vaccinated against the coronavirus. His office said in a statement that he is tested daily, and he is tested positive today, even though he has been fully vaccinated against the coronavirus. Now, starting today, people ages 12 years and older in New York City are going to be required to show proof of at least a partial vaccination to participate in indoor activities, including going to a gym, including going into a restaurant. Like, I know yesterday when I went to my gym, I had to show them my COVID card.
Really?
Yeah, they asked for it. They said, I'm not going to be allowed in today if I didn't show it. I said, well, today's my off day, but I'll show it anyway because I want to come tomorrow. Now, Mayor de Blasio said, if we're going to stop the Delta variant, the time is now. In New Orleans, a vaccination requirement for all indoor venues and outdoor gatherings of more than 500 people went into effect. In San Francisco, a requirement for indoor activities goes into effect Friday. These are requirements. You can't show a negative COVID test. You have to show a vaccination. Biden administration health officials are expected to recommend booster shots. Did you hear that, Yo-Yo? I know you didn't want to do the booster shots.
Yeah.
But they are recommending booster shots for anyone who took the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine, and regardless of age. And the booster shot you're supposed to take is 8 months after you got your second dose. People like me who got the Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, so what do you have to do?
I have Johnson. So far, nothing. They have not done enough testing on the Johnson & Johnson to recommend whether to have a second. I don't know what I should be doing. They haven't come out with it yet. Alabama's ICU is at near capacity. The head of the Alabama Hospital Association, Dr. Don Williamson, told the AP that the situation, the greatest demand on the ICU system we have ever seen. 1 in 5, I just saw this statistic come across my phone about an hour ago from the New York Times. 1 in 5 ICU units in the United States of America, 20% is at 95% capacity or greater. That means 1 or 2 beds left. Lizzo. She addressed a wave of hate comments directed at her over the weekend. So you know what I find sometimes? When you address hate comments, doesn't it cause more hate comments or no?
So keep reading, because I have something about it. Because Lizzo actually doesn't usually address this. She's so unproblematic. She just lets it.
Don't you just cause more drama in a way that now we're talking about it in tea? I'm just.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, she tearfully calling some of the criticism out for being fat-phobic and racist. Lizzo released the song Rumors with Cardi B on Friday, and a video, more than 13 million views. The song lyrics themselves address haters, with Lizzo singing in one verse, "Why are you spending all your time trying to break a woman down?" The 3-time Grammy winner told fans Sunday that while normally hateful comments don't bother her, her tolerance for them was low. She said, "It's fat-phobic, it's racist, and it's hurtful. What I won't accept is y'all doing this to black women over and over and over again, especially us big black girls. When we don't fit into the box that you want to put us in, you just unleash hatred on us." Lizzo added that while she focuses on providing positivity through her platforms, she sometimes feels like the world doesn't love me back. Cardi B came to the singer's defense on Twitter Sunday, calling haters nerds who are looking onto the popular table. In one tweet, she said that body shaming and calling her mammy is mean and racist as F. She wrote, "When you stand up for yourself, they claim you're problematic and sensitive." That's what I said. I didn't say. Right. I wasn't saying problematic and sensitive. I was just saying I just think it causes more problems. Just ignore it more than anything. But when you don't, they tear you apart until you cry like this. Whether you're skinny, big, plastic, they're going to always try to put their insecurities on you. All right, thoughts. I gave you my thought.
Like I said, Lizzo is the most unproblematic person. She has no time for anybody's drama. She is just a happy person, and she's comfortable in the skin that she's in, and that apparently makes other people uncomfortable. So the fact that she, spoke about it this time, it literally was because she broke down. Imagine you put out a video and in days that got 13 million views. Do you understand how many hateful comments you get just daily from the entire world just because you're happy with yourself? Like, it will break you down. We get like 2 comments. If we get one negative comment on YouTube or Facebook, we're like, "Oh, what the heck? Delete them. We got, you know what I mean?" But like, imagine millions and millions and millions of people literally just body shaming you because you're happy. I pray for her sanity. That's hard. And she just became famous, like out of nowhere, so she's not used to the fame. She's not used to all this.
But I think there's trolls everywhere. There's trolls everywhere. There's just negative people no matter what. Whether she was tall, there's negative people against you. Whether you're short, you're big. I just think there's negativity everywhere on social media. It doesn't matter what you are and who you are. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that still doesn't justify.
No, I'm not saying it justifies it. I'm just saying, I'm not saying she can't be, sensitive to it, and obviously, but I just think it's just part of. At this, you just gotta believe it. At this stage in social media, it's part of the game, in a way.
Yeah, these are actual like jabs that are super, super hurtful. Like calling a black woman a mammy. Like, just because they're saying she's being subservient to the white man when all she's doing is literally being herself. Like, these are jabs that, they're a little deep.
But it's so absurd that, like, in other words, like, if somebody calls you something that is just so absurd, that it's just so absolutely, positively not true. Sometimes I just I'm like, where are they even coming up with this? It's just so ridiculous. You just laugh.
Were you not bullied as a child?
Maybe not.
I was bullied as a child, and it hurts. It hurts. Words sting harder than being beat up physically.
Okay, I'm not going to argue.
Yeah. So I understand.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just telling you. Sometimes I'm just
but
like
that's why.
when
but
people
you could tell you weren't bullied.
When people call me names or like just say something so absurd, I'm like, come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
Right.
I'm thicker skins. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I don't know.
You wish that for everyone.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right. I
I
actually wish I had that because I didn't have that thick skin. I was a skinny bucktooth nerd from, with a family from Africa, and literally it was made fun
You
of
are
my
not.
entire.
You are not a skinny bucktooth nerd.
If you had
How
seen my
dare-
pictures.
How dare anybody call Yo-Yo a skinny bucktooth nerd?
Listen, I was bullied literally my entire upbringing.
I don't
so
believe
I
that.
get. We'll bring out the pictures.
I don't believe that because you're like the coolest guy I know. So
Now.
Now, right? Are you still sensitive now?
Yeah, to the point where I had to take anger management, and
Really?
I grew when I got older, I found myself fighting a lot, and I found out it was because I was bullied so much as a kid when I couldn't defend myself, and now, like you say, I'm older and I'm big. Like if somebody says one thing, I used to just blow up.
Right.
So I get where you coming from, baby. Lizzo, we love you. We love full figure women. We love black women that are doing their thing. We just got to give them love.
Well, Lizzo, she turned it around.
She did.
She did turn it around on Sunday afternoon. She tweeted, "If you managed to love yourself today, I'm proud of you. If you haven't, I'm still proud of you. This shit's hard." She then shared a short video of
That
herself
part.
laughing and revealing her stash of Grammys and other awards, writing, "Sometimes I get sad, and then I..." Look
Yeah.
And you
Look
remember-
at what I did.
See?
Look at what you did.
Yep.
And then you say, "What did they do?
That part.
What did they do?"
Because usually those are the people that are hating, the ones that are mad at their own life.
This, by the way, did you
Miserable, yes.
Yeah.
Nesquik.
you have any thoughts on this, Nesquik?
What? I have so many thoughts.
Right.
We just don't have but honestly and truly, I agree with Yo-Yo. And then there's also something in the comments from Anna. She's just repeating a quote that Lizzo said, and it was like, whether you're thick, skinny, plastic people, here it goes. As Lizzo says, whether you're skinny, big, or plastic, you're gonna have haters. Love, love, love Lizzo. And then
That's
back
true.
to
You're always
Yo-Yo,
going to have haters. Exactly.
the way that you're looking at life now, Brad, I see life very much that way too, but every now and again, you go back to it may take people longer to build that thick skin. And then when you get it in an overwhelm, right? If you get 13 million views in something, just 2 million of them being negative, you can spend an entire
That's a
40
lot.
reading negative messages, but it's an overwhelm. So it's not to say that she's sensitive. It's
Right.
there's 3 million comments.
You ever see those? You ever see those? I forgot which late night comedian does it. The where they read the mean tweets. They have.
Oh,
they
yeah,
have the
yeah, yeah. I love
celebrities
that. I love
Jimmy
Jimmy
Kimmel does it.
I love
where
that.
They have the celebrities. I mean, that's them just laughing it off. It's so
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. I actually love it, but that's not for everybody. For someone
Right.
I was on mainstream TV. I've had viral videos on YouTube. All my comments are not nice comments, even me today. So just those little bit of a comment, some of those comments, I'm like, dang, it kind of hurt my feelings. Imagine millions of them. I couldn't even imagine it. I couldn't.
This is what I can't imagine. I got to move on, but this is what I can't imagine. Okay, Jennifer Aniston claims when she's stressed out.
Oh gosh.
When she's stressed out, she goes and wants to eat. But she doesn't eat like a normal stressed out person like Uncle Brad, who would eat an entire pizza or an entire
Right.
quart of ice cream, okay?
Right.
Or go to Dunkin' Donuts and get 2 dozen munchkins and
Devour 'em.
devour them, 6 in your mouth. Oh yeah, I'm so angry, I'm gonna eat all these munchkins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show this box
Yeah,
something.
exactly. That's what Uncle Brad does. Nope, Jennifer Aniston could go to the M&M bag, eat one M&M and say, okay, I feel better. What the heck? Is that even human?
Wow.
Is that even human?
I had 3 Oreos before the show.
Is that
I
even?
had Taco Bell before this, right after the gym, and I'm over here, just I'm just dying in my mind. I'm like, oh, why'd I do that? This right here, if I can take a positive from this, it kind of teaches us it's all in your mind. Just, pretend you ate a bunch, but just take one, and then you're good.
I'll tell you what she said in a recent InStyle magazine, because this is the quote. "A chip, crunch, crunch. Just one chip. Usually I'm good at that. I can have one M&M or one chip. I know that's so annoying. Yeah, it is really
It's
annoying.
very annoying.
It is so annoying. It's annoying just to read it.
Yeah,
It's annoying.
It is. It is. Because there's nobody else in the world that
Exactly.
can do this.
Another positive is just the willpower there. Can you just give a round?
That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna take the positive out of it, but it still irks me, like, 'cause I could never do this.
Yeah, well, you know what it is that she, I think it's psychological in the sense that you say to yourself, I would be more stressed out putting the weight on
Yeah.
than eating. It's not the, I mean, when people say it's willpower, I look at it like this. What stresses the person out more?
Mm-hmm.
Is it what's going on at this moment, or the stress knowing that I'm going to put weight on, or I'm not going to feel good in my body? And me, I could care less how I feel in my body. I'm eating all the munchkins right now. I'm eating all the ice cream. I could care less. I could care less what my body looks like. But other people, like Jennifer Aniston, she's like,
I literally just like a vision. It just came up in my mind just from you saying that. It's like I see you with a box of donuts and then like a big old bag of chips, and you just talking to yourself like, okay, I'm stressed, but I feel like me gaining this weight is going to make me even more stressed. So all I see is you just inhaling. Just like, okay, let me just smell it at least.
It's true. No, but I would eat it anyway.
You still eat it?
Everybody has their, I guess their thing. Some people are addicted to drugs or alcohol, when they're stressed out, or smoke a cigarette. Some people like to go running. I was
about to say, you should try and go running.
I like to go find the fattest food I can find. I feel better for the moment.
Oh, man.
What do you do to relieve stress?
I was about to ask, how do you relieve?
She's not. Vanessa's not eating. She's skinny.
I don't know.
I have a sweet tooth, actually. I have a sweet tooth. So, yeah, I like to snack on. I'm a big Oreo fan. I love chocolate.
It's the second time you said Oreo in like the last 2 minutes. I do want to ask
Obviously,
before we go to the next story, I want to ask all the squaddies, what is a way you kind of decompress or deal with your stress? I already see Anna Nicole. I think it is, Amanda Chung. Something I actually like as well. I find myself in the spa when I'm stressed.
I'm in Jessica Levy's corner. Eat now and worry later. I'm in her corner.
I am too as well.
Joelle knows the vibe.
All right. And finally, this is interesting. The exes of J-Lo and Ben Affleck, they're both wishing, Jennifer Garner and Mark Anthony, both wishing Bennifer that they make it.
Wow.
Well, that's unusual.
That's love.
That's unusual because usually the exes are like, F you.
Well, Mark Anthony, I don't know how far back Jennifer was with Ben, but Mark Anthony, he had the kids with her, right? So he's had his family, and she was with what's his name?
But also it's a very good point. Okay, because Jennifer Garner had children with Ben Affleck as well.
See what I'm saying?
And I feel that way about my ex-wife.
There you go, exactly.
I had children with her. I want her to be happy.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like I want to be back together with her.
Right,
but I wish her happiness, and I wish her that she finds somebody that makes her happy.
Because at this point, this is a bigger bond than just being boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know, Nesquik, if you watch, but I'm sure a lot of you guys watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. Cynthia Bailey, she's like a model. She was Mimi's best friend. It's actually kind of weird, her relationship with her baby's father, but this was from the 90s. He played in The Temptations, Leon. He's like a legendary actor, but their relationship, Leon is literally always at every single wedding. He becomes best friends with each of her new husbands.
Right.
That's the type of relationship, but you couldn't do that with her ex-boyfriend. He's not going to wish her well. He's going to be like, well, damn, that was my
a source told Entertainment Tonight, and I get a lot of my information from Entertainment Tonight. Source told them, they usually write on Entertainment Tonight, right?
Yeah.
A source said, it's an unnamed source, said Jen Garner and Mark Anthony are continuing to be supportive, and there doesn't seem to be any ill will across the board. They all just want what's best for each other's families.
Good.
Wow.
So I think that's really nice.
We can learn from that.
I think that's really nice.
Really a thing. I cannot even, I'm not surprised, but whatever. Let's
You know,
just
I would have thought that people's egos would have got involved, but no.
I don't, like I said, I think it would if they were ex-boyfriends and girlfriends and like recent. But when it comes to marriage, you had kids, the marriage didn't work out, but you're constantly in each other's faces. You're dealing with, you know, the kids. So you want love for them. My mom and my dad are divorced, and my mom says that my dad is like her brother. They've known each other for over 30 years.
Very
you
nice.
know?
And you know what's very interesting is to your point, Yo-Yo, I read that J-Lo deleted all of pictures of A-Rod on her Instagram.
Oh, well, as you should.
Right, because I guess they didn't have children and they were just, they were just.
So
boyfriend.
A-Rod, I don't think is going to be like, I'm down for the Benifer.
Right.
You know?
Right, I don't think A-Rod's down for
I don't think A-Rod
Benifer.
is down for Benifer.
not with the benefit.
No, they were actually Benifer and A-Rod were on competing yachts off of Saint-Tropez.
Really?
2 weeks ago. Yes, I was reading in the New York Post.
Spicy.
And the New York Post was saying who had the nicer yacht.
Oh,
you know,
Lord.
A-Rod was on one mega yacht, and Benifer was on another mega yacht, and there was like the competing yachts, and they were like literally parked like they were. I don't know how you park a yacht, but I guess they were near each other enough that they were parked in the bay in the same area in Saint-Tropez, France.
Man.
So petty. That is literally that's. Number one, super petty, and number two, that was first, she turned like 52 or something.
Yeah,
this woman
right.
is Wonder Woman.
Right, and it was both their birthdays, by the way. And I want you to know something. And I want you to know something, Vanessa. As super petty as that was, on the New York Post, on at least the internet, they had like 12 pictures of the inside of the boat of both Benifer's boat and A-Rod's boat. And as petty as it was, I had to look through all 24 pictures and decide who had the nicer boat.
Who had the nicer boat? Yeah, of course.
I saw that post too.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Brad.
I as petty as it was, and I'll tell you who had the nicer vote.
Who did? Decide.
J-Lo.
J-Lo?
Benifer had the nicer vote. Yeah, had the nicer, bigger boat.
I wanted to decide.
Oh, what did you decide?
No, I agree with you.
Oh, you agree with me? Yeah, Benifer definitely had the nicer boat.
Carol Anderson, the Tiger, said, I like Jennifer and Ben together.
Yes.
I am low-key a Jennifer and Diddy.
Oh, really?
I'm a Jennifer and Diddy fan. That's like the old school. That's like nostalgic
How
to
many
me.
famous people has she been with?
I know y'all know all of Jennifer's dates.
How many
favorites?
famous people has she been with? You think about it. Right, J-Lo. Jilly, I'm calling J-Lo's
back there?
J-Lo's back there. No, Jilly's telling me, well, she's famous too. Of course she's going to be with that. But she's been with a lot of famous men.
A lot of famous people. But I'm a J-Lo and Diddy fan. Take it to that old school New York.
When all of this started happening, I had to kind of go back in time because then at the same time, like, not that age is whatever, but she's 50, right? And we've seen her with so many men. So I'm like, where did this all start? And I started reading an article where it was like way from the beginning, from her high school sweetheart, like before she did Selena. And I just maybe got like midway. I think I made it up to around 80. And like whoever, when she was married with Chris, the choreographer. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm overwhelmed. And I couldn't.
Why do you think that she hasn't been able to settle down to be with one person for a long period of time?
It has to be her. Just like I have this talk about this with Halle Berry all the time. Yeah. Halle Berry is one of the most gorgeous people on earth.
Right.
And
it's her.
I think so.
Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.